will talk about what were the Pharisees doing, what the Pharisees were like, and what did Jesus call out the Pharisees for being hypocrites? Matthew 23:4, they bind heavy burdens, grievous to be borne, and lay them on men's shoulders, heavy burdens, lay on men's shoulders, but themselves will not move them with even one of their fingers. They're hypocrites. They're holding people accountable, and themselves they are not doing it. He called them out for their pride. Jesus called the Pharisees out for their pride. Matthew 23:5, by all their works they do to be seen of men, make broad their flatteries, and enlarge the border of their garments. They condemn people. Matthew 23:13, but woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you shut up the kingdom of heaven against men, for ye neither go in yourselves, neither suffer ye them that are entering to go in. They also kept keeping the people from coming to Christ. He rebuked them for their teaching. Matthew 23:15, woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for you come to see land make one proselyte, and when he's made, make him twofold more the child of hell than yourselves. A proselyte, a Jewish convert, so that requires teaching. So they converted them to their way of thinking, to the Judaism, to the law, making them even more zealous, making the law even more redundant by their traditions, by their interpretation, and their hyper-righteousness of following the law. And they're even more blind in recognizing their Messiah, hardening even more their hearts to the accepting of Christ. The Pharisees appeared to be righteous outwardly, but while lacking righteous inwardly or of the heart. They followed the law, but themselves weren't converted, and themselves just the outward observance wasn't good enough. That your heart had to be in it too. Matthew 5:27-28. You have heard that it was said of them of old time, thou shalt not commit adultery. But I say unto you, whosoever looketh upon a woman to lust after her hath committed adultery with her heart already. Committed adultery with her already in his heart. So they had a heart problem. They just the religious outwards observance of the law, but the spirit law was not observed, which is the weightier matter of the law, the justice, faith, and mercy. Called them out that they were still wicked in their heart, and they were still calling them out for wickedness of their heart also. Is Matthew 12:34-36. O generation of vipers, how can ye being evil speak good things? For out of the abundance of the heart the mouth speaketh. So they're calling the miracles that Jesus was doing, that he was doing it by the power of Satan. So a good man, they were speaking evil. A good man out of a good treasure of heart bringeth forth good things. An evil man out of the evil treasure of his heart bringeth forth evil things. So if I say that every idle word that a man speaks, they shall give account thereof in the day of judgment. They appeared righteous on the outwardly, but inwardly their hearts were wicked and were not converted. Matthew 23:27. But woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye are like whitened sepulchres, which are indeed appear beautiful outward, but are within full of dead man's bones and all uncleanness. So their hearts were unconverted. The weightier matters of the law. Matthew 23:23. One, to scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, ye pay tithe of mint, incense, and cumin, but omitted the weightier things of the law, judgment, mercy, and faith. You ought you these ought ye have done, and not to leave the other undone. Um, so mercy, as in the law that God desired mercy more than it was more important than the sacrifice. Hosea um, Hosea 6:6, for it desire mercy, not sacrifice, and the knowledge of God more than burnt offerings. So the mere observance, he wanted to their heart mercy. It's more important. Mercy is more important. And love, thou shalt not hate thy brother in thy heart. Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor, not suffer sin upon him. Shall not avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people. Love thy neighbor as thyself. I am the Lord. Justice, he should judge righteously, not with false balances, show impartiality. It's abomination unto the Lord. Proverbs 11:1. A false balance is abomination unto the Lord, but a just weight is his delight. Faith is more important. Faith to love God is more important than outward observance. That's the weightier matter of the law. Deuteronomy 6:5. Thou shalt love thy neighbor. Thou shalt love the Lord thy God with all thy heart, with all thy soul, and all thy might. And to trust, faith, trust God. Proverbs 3:5-6. Trust in the Lord with all thy heart, lean not on thy own understanding. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and shall direct thy paths. So as examples that the law can be bent. Yes, the law can be bent because justice, mercy, and faith is more important than outward observance. Jesus said this to the Pharisees, that Matthew 12:33-34, but he said unto them, have you not read David did what was he was hungry, and they that were with him, how he entered the house of God and to eat the showbread, which is not lawful for him to eat, neither which was with him, but only priest for the priest. So it was only the showbread in the temple. It was only lawful for the priest to eat, but because it was to preserve life, um, the priest allowed them to eat. Example 2, the help your neighbor on the Sabbath. That they say, well, you can't do any type of what's considered work on the Sabbath, but you can preserve life, to do good. Matthew 12:10-12. They questioned when he questioned Jesus when he healed the hand of a man, and he says, "Behold, that was a man which had his hand withered, and they asked him, saying, Is it lawful to heal on the Sabbath days? They might accuse him. And he said unto him, What man shall be there among you that shall have one sheep if it fall in his bed on the Sabbath day? Will he not take hold of it, lay hold of it, and lift him out? How much there? How much then is the man better than a sheep? Wherefore is lawful to do well on the Sabbath days?" And he asked in parallel passage Mark 3:4, he saith unto his lawful to do good on Sabbath or do evil, to save life or to kill, but they held their peace. So law can bend to preserve life, which is more important to God than outward observance, which Deuteronomy 22:4 says that they were commanded, if you see the brothers' livestock, that you should help them.